Welcome, everybody, and thanks to all of you for attending this new event in the Clearpix webinar series. Let's start this session. My name is Jordi Ricard. I'm the Director of Europe and US branches of Clearpix. And the agenda for today, I will do a quick overview of our company and then hand over to my colleague, Diman, our lead of advanced analytics at Clearpix, that will take us through the rest of the session. He will be supporting me during this webinar and participate to the Q&A session at the end of the presentation. On this regard, and because of the broad audience to this webinar, we've disabled the speech functionalities for you attendees. So we recommend you to use the Q&A and the chat functions of Zoom. We will be reserving a bit of time at the end of this session to go through your questions and answer them. And whatever unanswered questions remains at the end of the session, we will contact you by email. I hope you can hear us well, see the screens. If you have any problem, also tell us through the chat, and my colleagues and I will try to address that the best we can. So before starting to see how we can monitor the impact and what is the best promotions that we can use to optimize our revenue and simulate that, let me introduce you briefly who we are at Clearpix. Clearpix is an end-to-end business analytics consultancy firm operating worldwide for the last 20 years with a broad customer and project portfolio across more than 20 different industries. Our headquarters are in Barcelona, in Spain, and we also have offices in Abu Dhabi and Dubai in the Middle East. Our services span from business intelligence to big data and advanced analytics, complemented with web and mobile solutions tailored for each one of our customers. We invest in the leading and most state-of-the-art technologies and methodologies to help our customers make the most of their data, their products, whatever kind of data and wherever it is stored. To help our customers achieving that and their business goals, we provide the full end-to-end portfolio of services from the inception and of the data journey, the estimation and assessing the company readiness to start a project and helping in the formulation of a strategy for each of our customers, to determining the program success factors and the business requirements for each one of the different projects. With then implementing and supporting the BI, big data, machine learning, artificial intelligence projects under a solid data governance and management layer. The outcome of our work goes from top executive and management-oriented analytics and dashboards to real-time operational and tactical data discovery, reporting, and enablement. Finalizing with web and mobile applications, as I mentioned before, tailored for you when you need to embed the analytics or the BI into your different company tools. For this webinar, however, we'll be concentrating on the advanced analytics part and capabilities. And let me explain you how do we understand the analytics, the advanced analytics at Clearpix. So first, by having a team of professional consultants, data engineers, machine learning experts, and data scientists, certified and skilled in the newest advanced analytics platforms, with all the new tools appearing, getting up to date to all the new tools and technologies that are appearing in the market every day, right? They are all led by Diman, who you will see in action in a few minutes. And as I mentioned before, this end-to-end experience from the business challenges to the technical execution. We try to get the whole range of services with our consultants. Our approach to support our customers in this journey to deploy advanced analytics has three key steps, right? The first one is help identifying the advanced analytics, the machine learning need in your company, right? So-called a use case. So which is the question, or what are the questions that we are trying to resolve, to answer, to predict in your business, right? And that comes with the business consulting exercise, helping your subject matter experts to identify and define the real need. The second key piece is what we call the Advanced Analytics Build program. This is a way to quickly prototype and deploy with your data, leveraging some of the examples and success stories that we have had previously in other customers. All that based on a fixed data set that our customers can fill in with their own data. That allow us to, given a set of data coming from you, we can run the model or the prediction on top of it, and you can visualize, see the output, see the results, and help convincing yourself and your company of the business benefits and the ROI at the end of these kind of projects. Once this is done, right, and we have this assessment done, then we are ready altogether to approach a proper AI and machine learning project, which are, which Dimon will explain a little bit how they are done. With this quick overview, I hope you have an idea on who we are at Clearpix, and I will now hand over to Dimon to get into the interesting part of this webinar. Any question you have until now or during this session, remember, use the chat and we will address them. Dimon?
Thank you, Jordi, and good evening, everyone. Good afternoon for people joining from the other side. So my name is Dimande. I'm leading the entire delivery practice for advanced analytics, machine learning, and the data science side of things for Clearpix. I also work extensively with the other teams from the traditional BI, the visualization teams, as well as the cloud and big data teams as well. So based on the entire synergy within Clearpix, we try to showcase the end-to-end data analytics journey or the implementations that we have done for different customers across our timeline. So one of the use cases that we are going to discuss today is going to be the retail pricing and how machine learning and AI can help you in that journey. So before we get into the thick of things, just to give everybody a quick sense of how important is pricing. I'm sure everybody understands there's not much new things that we can say how important pricing can be for an organization. But still, pricing, as we believe, is always going to be the central point for any kind of business operations, may it be product based or service based, whether it's you are serving a B2B customer base or a B2C customer base or whatever that may be. Pricing is a key essential topic that every organization needs to control and structure properly. And you need to understand how those controlling parameters can impact the key KPIs of your business, mainly the revenue, the profitability, and the growth structures. So that's one aspect of things that we are going to discuss, the 360-degree impact on the sales side of things or the revenue and the profitability side of things. But along with pricing, there's also the promotional and the offers that go out for different offerings that you have or different product catalog that you have. So we are also going to look at how promotional effectiveness comes hand in hand with the pricing strategy that you have in place. So that's one. That's the second thing. And something that we do, especially within Clearpix, that's taking you to that next level after you have an AI implementation done in your organization. So let's say, for example, you are a steady business intelligence driven company. So you have all your dashboards and reports that generate. And on top of that, we also enable you to take some, build some machine learning models that can help you with some predictive insights or KPIs. But what we feel is after that also, what we can help you with is the simulation part of it and how simulation helps to your business is around the business decision making. So any decision making regarding whether you want to change certain pricings, or whether you want to bring in a new promotion, or whether you want to roll out a particular promotion or roll it off, all these different parameter tunings regarding pricing and promotions can be actually done through a simulation platform before you take the final call and then deploy it into a production scenario. Now, obviously, these things are tightly integrated with the backend BI systems that generate the necessary, uh, you know, BI KPIs that are required to make these decisions. At the same time, to complement any descriptive BI-based KPIs, we also bring in the machine learning-based predictive KPIs, which then altogether help you make the right decision or the right call on your final pricing and promotions. Okay. So, having that set up, as a whole, the entire business case that we're going to look at is analyze the effectiveness of pricing and promotions along with offer structures. And at the same time, we understand the impact of uh, the sales revenue and all those different KPIs, the growth factors. And then we are also going to give you a glimpse around how simulation can help you for the key business decision makers in your organization regarding these areas. Finally, we are also going to analyze the different highs and lows in the different sales and forecasting models to reduce any abnormal business situations. As part of the deliverables that you are going to see through this demo today, this is an end-to-end example of what a Clearpix pill look like. So if you would like to go for a rapid delivery or a rapid deployment kind of a plan, as part of that, you're going to get these deliveries. So one of those artifacts would be a set of dashboards, one for the director level KPIs to understand historical business KPIs like sales growth, uh, growth compared with your last year for different stores, different regions, and so on. There's another set of there's another dashboard which explains the effectiveness of price changes and promotions. And then you also have a dashboard which gives you predictive insights or the predictive KPIs regarding your, machine learning models that you have implemented, which gives you a peek towards your future. Okay. Then we also have the simulation module that helps you, your business decision makers, to make the right tunings to your pricing and promotion combinations before you take the right call and deploy that parameters into production. Also, while doing this delivery for you, we will set up the environment, including the installation, configuration of the required tools and the tech stacks. Uh, we would also provide you with the user training required and the technical documentation for the same. What's the value tracking out of this entire implementation or the delivery? Obviously, the first thing would be the increase in sales and revenue by different stores, by different products and product categories. There's also going to be a sense or an enablement in terms of how your business decision makers would be enabled to compare different strategies or actions that they might would have taken uh, by their gut feeling in the past, or by some external analysis that they would have done either through Excel or some other tools. What we are going to show you is a tight integration of the BI KPIs as well as the machine learning KPIs, and plus this simulation platform, all tying these information together to help your business decision makers to take the right call. So that would be an excellent way for your business decision makers to take the right calls. Finally, all these together in one platform or under one umbrella is going to save you a lot of time and effort for the pricing team and help you get more time into deciding or into playing around with different options or to brainstorm around different strategies for your pricing and promotions. The solution. So Before we jump into the solution, let's take a moment to understand the domain that is in place, and let's take a pause to understand the length and breadth of this entire space that we're talking about. Pricing uh, is a huge domain, especially in retail. The number of different strategies, different uh, uh, problem statements that can come out are really vast and really of different variety. How machine learning and AI can help you tackle all these different ideas would be cumbersome as well. So I've just jotted down uh, these five ideas for you to start on immediately if you're not doing. Would be like product segmentation, identify key value categories or identify key value items, not only using rule based structures, but also through a clustering mechanism or other pattern based algorithms. Then you have this dynamic pricing concepts for especially going on for e-commerce websites, where you would like to do a competitive strategy for your pricing based on how your competition is doing. And then you have market mix modeling that you can do for different variables, different attributes and features that impact your sales and revenues. um, and then at the same time you also can actually build using machine learning and AI what kind of response strategy should be recommended for this kind of a situation for your retail scenarios. And at the end, there's also not exactly something consumable for your operations, but for you to make better decisions is to have some kind of driver analysis. Which are the top drivers for top sales or top category movements or top product consumption in the market? Okay, so these are different areas where machine learning and AI could come into picture. Okay, today what we are going to look at is a very scoped down version, because obviously within a span of an hour covering all these different aspects would be impractical. So today we are going to look at how different factors or different features from the retail space is going to impact the revenue generation for the next week, let's say. Okay, so the data set that we have is for a retail chain who have different stores across different cities in the US. And the information that we have or the data set that we have are broadly categorized into these three tables or structures. One is the on the left hand side, the product information, the category of the product, the description, what's the size of the product, subcategory, the manufacturer, and so on. And on the right hand side, you have the store information, which city it is located in, whether it's a supermart, whether it's a small mart, how much average weekly baskets of sales do they look at, what's the parking space capacity, the volume or the carpet area size for the sales store, uh, what state is this particular store belonging to, and all those information. Now, across almost 3 years timeline, for every product in the left hand side and for every store on the right hand side, we have the transactional information of what's the base price of the product in that particular store given for that particular week, whether there are any promotional activities going on. So we have three different promotional activities, whether it's a display promotion or a feature promotion or a temporary price reduction only. And at the same time, you also have the count of how many households visit that store or has bought that particular product in that store for that week, and how many units sold, and what are the number of visits. Okay. So having said these, just a quick summary of the entire landscape of the business problem that we are covering. So we have four different product categories. Altogether, among that four categories, we have 58 different products. The entire data set is spanned across 79 stores. There are three different promotional categories, and one of them is display promotion, which basically talks about banner ads that are hung in front of the stores. You also have the feature promotion, which are basically in-store circulars or leaflets. And then you have the temporary price reduction that's only available when you pick up the product by your hand when you go to the aisle from the shelf. And this entire data set goes back almost 156 weeks, give or take 3 years. Okay. So just quickly, I'm just going to go and have a look at the chat just to check if there are any questions so far. Okay. Yes, I think these are all logistical questions, so we would definitely take these up at a later point of time. Okay, let's move on. So we have talked about the business, and let's spend a little bit time on how we approach any machine learning or AI implementation. So this is a reference or a reference architecture design for our end-to-end machine learning implementations. This is a very technical slide, so I would not spend much time on this. If anyone's more interested around this, please feel free to get in touch with us. But let me quickly skim through the slide so that everybody has a fair enough idea. People coming from data science background or from a technical background, you might already know this. But yes, let me take a quick moment to explain the slide here. So any machine learning or AI implementation, we do it using these three silos or three major categories. The left-hand side is all about cleansing the data, wrangling the data, looking at what are the different sources you have, understanding the business and mapping the business with the data sets that you have, trying to figure out if the data set that we already have can be incorporated as it is, or is there any preparation that needs to go for it altogether. At certain times, there are certain things called feature engineering, what is basically known as some functional logic that has been implemented on the existing data set, which can generate new features out of the data set that you already have. And on top of that, we also do something called exploratory data analysis, which is like a clean visualization-based data exploration, kind of like data discovery to understand any hidden patterns from visual aspects. Okay. Then once we have this part of the thing done, we basically have a fair enough idea of which features would be important or which are the features that can be utilized in our actual exercise for model training or the AI model validations. So what we do is we do a lot of experimentations using different algorithms. And all these different algorithms, which essentially are known as models, have different parameter sets. Okay, and not all algorithms work with with the same set of parameters, and every parameter has their own range of different values to tune with. So for every data set that you have, for every model algorithm that you have, and for every parameter set that we have, we are going to run different experimentations. And for the validation side of things, we are going to do different exercises like cross validations or bagging or ensembling templates. And finally, once we have the tuning done properly, we take the right model, that's the right algorithm, and we also finally select the right set of parameters that give us the best validation metrics, which says that, okay, based on the data set that we have, this is the most confident model that you can take forward for your prediction. Once we have that, we export that model and then bring it to the third silo. And this is where most of the consumptions happen. So consumptions can be broadly into two ways, either in forms of reports or dashboards to understand different KPIs or to understand different insights that are coming in, which can help business either to understand what's happening in their operations or their processes. And at the same time, there's another side of things of integration, like if you want to do a real-time prediction, especially in the cases of dynamic pricing or things like that, you can have a REST API integration with the actual machine learning model, which on the fly in real time can give you the real-time pricing that should be deployed in production for that particular product that we have on site. While doing so, we also help you to do the production deployment, obviously to scale it to enterprise level and the distribution of those same. And along with that, we understand deploying the model is just part of it, or is just the beginning of it. We also enable you how well can you monitor the model performance metrics. Like, let's say a very fresh model can work very well for, let's say, a month after you deploy, but there is, after a month, what we call in technical terms, there might be a model drift or the accuracy drift. So the accuracy that you saw while deploying, it's going down, let's say, by 5%. So those performance monitoring capabilities has to be tracked through properly, and then has to be brought into the entire design uh, platform or the design strategy, so that whenever there is a drop in accuracy, the data science team needs to be notified, and so that they can work on the modeling exercise one more time. Okay, so that's a brief idea about how the end-to-end machine learning and AI implementations look like. Now we're going to get into the demo. So what you see in front of you is something known as the simulation page. Okay, so this page is known as the pricing simulation page, which basically talks about given different parameters on the left hand side, the left box on the upper corner, for different stores, for different products. You can select which of the 3 promotions that you would like to run for next week. Okay, and then on the bottom you have this slider where you can select the discount percentage, whether you want to reduce the price or whether you want to increase the price. Okay, and then you can click the simulate button and then basically see what kind of change are we looking at. Okay, so let's do a quick simulation. So let's say I would like to select a few stores, and then I'm going to select a few products as well. And for all these offers, for all these products and stores, we are going to enable the display promotion. We are going to display the circular feature promotion. And let's say we give around 10% of reduction in the pricing. So let's say this is the parameter set that we would like to simulate for. And let's see what the machine learning model is telling us. We'll just give it a moment. So as you can see on the right hand side, we have this top level KPIs that, okay, this was the last week's total revenue based on the same, based on whatever configurations that they had in terms of the pricing and in terms of the promotional settings. And based on the changes that we see here, this is the predicted revenue for next week. So the growth in revenue, it seems it's 81%, which is highly unlikely. So let's question which are the right ones, which are the right configurations for which combination of product and store, and let's see how we can make the decision from there. We are trying to go through the steps of how a pricing manager would look at different products and across the different stores, and what kind of pricing and promotional structures that they can deploy. Okay. Now, in this table that you see, you have this different information, like which category of product are we looking at, what's the subcategory, some basic information about the product, like manufacturer, which store we are talking about, the product in question, and the blue highlights basically show which promotions are actually given. Okay, and this was the last week's revenue. There's $273, and the predicted revenue would be $228 for next week. And this is highlighted in red because it's going down. For the other ones, it's green because it's planning to go up. So you see all these different predictions that has come up. Okay. Now we have to understand this is all simulation. This is something that we are not doing in production. So anything you play around with here is entirely safe. Okay. So, and that's the beauty of it, the beauty of the simulation. Now let's say we select any of the combinations, like let's say for the mini twist pretzels. And let's say let's try to find out for this particular selection in East Allen store, the mini twist pretzels. The machine learning model is saying that last week it was $74. Next week it's going to be $113. Now, on the left hand side in the bottom, horizontal, you see this, revenue timeline for that combination. Like, let's say for East Allen store, this particular product, this is the way that it has been sold for the entire last year. Okay. And what we see here, and the blue one that you see here is the next week's prediction. Now, obviously, going through it from a very visual aspect, it seems that it's not that bad of a prediction, right? It more or less tells you about an average number, right? But at the same time, we would also like to give you some form of statistical proof that whether this is how confident or how likely this is going to happen. So for that, we have this revenue probability distribution for that same combination. For this particular product, for this store, this is the probability distribution of different revenues that has come up. And on top, you see this, box plot that basically gives you an idea that how close they are or how likely they are in their distribution patterns. Okay, so if they are falling between the first quantile and the third quantile, that's going to be a very good confident prediction. But as we see, the line of prediction that's coming up here, it's almost touching the upper fence, whereas it's not crossing that line where it's soon to be treated as an outlier or an anomaly, but it's still on the fence, right? So the decision making from here on has to be some things that the machine learning model has told you in the table, a visual aspect of it on the left hand side in the bottom, and on the right hand side some form of statistical proof that how confident is this particular prediction going to look like. Okay, so here we see that there might be a little more tuning that we might have to do. Okay, so before we change any configurations, let's look at any other parameters, any other product in hand. So this is for a pepperoni pizza for that same store, and it looks like it's a little better, but it's still not in the most confident zone of the box plot. Okay, so we would like to, let's say, bring down the promotion a little bit, and let's simulate again. Okay, not much gain. Let's turn off the feature circular. So as you can see, it's coming slowly towards the confidence zone. And by this configuration, you see that you run only the display promotion and you only give 5% of discount. And this line for your pepperoni pizza is almost falling into the confidence zone. So this is one way that you can actually look at pricing as a simulation exercise, and that would give you much more confidence or much more assurance in the call that you're making or in the decision that you're making for your pricing changes. Okay, because at the same time, in our case, we do not have the profitability information, right? So it's very difficult to actually understand whether running a promotion for a long duration also has its own expenses, own cost metrics as well. So you have to minutely figure it out or decide on the right set of parameters or the right set of delivery for this particular promotion and pricing parameters before you take that to production. Okay. Now, so this is how we start our day with. Okay, you try to find out how the simulation platform is trying to tell you which is the optimal set of promotion and price structures. Before if you'd like to go even deeper, okay, you can also dig deep into the BI side of things, or the KPIs that are generated by the functional KPIs from the business dashboards. So what we're going to do is, so here's the thing about simulation that takes into consideration the historical patterns, which gives you a prediction using the machine learning model in the backend, and then gives you a way to play around with different parameters for your pricing and promotions to come up with the optimal set of parameters that can be deployed for any combinations of products that you have. Okay. Let's move on to the dashboard side of things. So this page that you see here is the predictions dashboard. This is kind of a technical dashboard to understand for different product categories, for different products, how well did the model predict based on the training data set. The reason why I'm coming to this is you need to understand that there cannot be a scenario that you let the machine learning model dictate what the pricing should be, or dictate all kinds of predictions, or your entire business process cannot be run through the machine learning model prediction itself. There has to be validations, not by the technical side of things, but also from the business decision maker side of perspectives as well. So one major area that you'd like to understand is, okay, I understand there is a model that has been built by the data science team, but is there a way that I can understand how confident is that particular model so that I can trust the prediction that's coming out of that model for me? Okay. So one very easy way to do that is to understand during the training exercise, how did the model fare against the actual data sets and the actual target value, and what was the predicted value that the model actually predicted. Now, if there is a large variation between these two, in that case, the model is not that confident to give you a highly accurate prediction. Now, instead of going into all these things, I'll quickly highlight the major ones, the most important ones. So that's the middle visual here on the top. I'm going to expand this quickly. So this basically shows you what are the different product labels that you have, and the machine learning model that we have in hand, what's the variation of the actual and the revenue that it has predicted. Okay, so that we understand how far off is the machine learning model towards making predictions for these different product brands. So as you can see, there is a huge gap when it comes to private label products, and it's very common because private label products, when you're running through a retail chain, every store try to have their own pricings going on, and it's not always centrally structured. Okay, and at the same time, you also have this another brand called Tony's, which is kind of a pizza brand. Obviously, pizza is a highly fluctuating product. It entirely depends on most of the times, fully depending on pricing and promotional structures. So the fluctuation shows, and it seems that our model is not capable of understanding the variation in this particular brand of products. So this gives you a quick understanding of, okay, for these two different product labels, let's not trust the recommendations that are coming in, or let's not trust the prediction that's coming out of the model. Okay. Now, to understand a little more in depth, so you also see this, actual revenue and the prediction revenue distribution plots. So what this should look like is highly overlapping when it comes to the actual and the predicted revenue structures distributions. So the more overlapping these two distributions are, the better the model is. So overall, it looks like a very good overlap. but we would like to break it down into different product category, or let's say different product brands, to understand the overlapping, how well it is working for granular levels. So let's select a quick brand, or a category. Let's say, sorry, let's select a quick brand here. Let's take the ones that we see the variations are very high. Let's say for Tony's. And let's wait for the visual to generate. What we are expecting here is the distributions are going to be highly non-overlapping, and that actually is going to help us understand uh, that the predictions made by the model for the Tony's brand is not exactly accurate, or not exactly confident around this. So as you can see, the distributions of these two KPIs, the actual revenue and the predicted revenue, are highly non-overlapping. So this is another way to evaluate your prediction model, and take cautious steps towards your actual decision making. Let's go back. Let's disable this, and let's go back to the. So this is one way that you can look at prediction and try to validate that, to understand how your model is performing. So for the next dashboard, what we have is the promotion effectiveness, quickly understanding the different business KPIs that promotions impact. On the left hand side, top end, you can see almost 62% of the revenue overall is actually generated when there is no promotions going on, and almost 38% are actually generated when there are some kind of promotions going on. So since we don't have the profitability information, this looks like a fair split. But obviously, having margin information or the profitability information would give us much more insights towards that. But let's move on to the next. The top 10 products influenced by promotion. This is also another interesting insights for the business decision makers to take their calls, to understand which are the products whenever there is a are highly fluctuated whenever there is a promotion going on, and when there are not. So let's say this Colgate Spearmint Wisp product, there is a revenue variation of almost 81%. When there is no promotions going on, it's around $150 average, and when there is promotions going on, there's almost $781 of revenue generated. So which is a big variation for this kind of product. So business decision makers from their functional knowledge can understand, okay, this is kind of a good to have product. Okay, so that is why people only buy these products when there are certain promotions going on. So these kind of evaluations or validations that is required from the data driven side of things, as well as the functional side of things from the business knowledge that your decision makers have, are very, very important. Now, the other thing on the right, you have this revenue split by the promotion types. For better understanding, we have broken it down into no promotions, when both feature and display promotions are going on, when there is only temporary price reduction offer going on, and there is only display and only feature promotion going on. So as you can see, the no promotion is a huge chunk, but apart from that, the feature plus display promotions, when they are happening, they take up quite a chunk of their revenue when it comes to promotional structures. So this is the most effective promotional structure or the combination when it comes to revenue generation. And then comes TPR. Now, quickly, just to bring you guys all in the same page, this analysis is happening over the entire product catalog across all the different stores, right? So you can also select a store of your choice, and you can select information of the same sort for your specific store. Now let's say the store that I've selected is northern stores, and the split of revenue by promotions is a bit uh, is a bit better than the global average. This store seems to be doing very well. They have almost 70% of their revenue generated without any promotional offers going on. So they might be having higher marginal values compared with the other ones. Okay, and the same metrics, top 10 products influenced by promotions, the revenue splits across different product promotion combinations are also given. If you would like to see for a particular product, that can also be taken care of. So let's say I select a cereal product, honey oats. So what we have here is, sorry, that was my CV acting up. Um, now, so this is for a honey oats, cereal product that we have selected, and we see that overall across all different stores, the sales or the revenue generated without promotion is around 68% on top, and the with promotion revenue split is around 32%, which is again a very healthy split. The revenue, the variation when there is a promotion going on is actually in negatives, which is also something that you might want to look at. Interesting thing that I would like to highlight is this key influencer analysis that we have here. Let me bring this into focus. So what it says here is for revenue to increase by a certain amount, uh, these are the impacting attributes that come into play when it comes to this particular product of, let's say, honey oats cereal. Um, when there is a feature promotion enabled, the average revenue tends to increase by 221. So when there is no promotion in terms of feature promotional structure going on, the average revenue coming from this particular product is $144. And when there is a promotion going on of feature kind, the average of revenue generated is 366. So this way, you can also understand how certain promotions are impacting your revenue for at a granular level of product level, or at a product store level, or at a store level, or whatsoever. Okay, and there are different attributing factors that come into play here. Okay, now let's select another product. Let's select a pizza. Okay. So this is the pepperoni pizza that we are looking at. We have the similar, influencing attributes analysis that are happening here. Again, we see a very high likelihood of increase in average revenue whenever there is a display going on, which is good, which is a very useful indicator. Now, at the same time, let's also look at a very interesting topic in terms of pricing. That's the elasticity model. So for this particular product, what we are looking at here is, comparing week on week parameters of price change and how that fares with, units sold. So as you can see, there are two colors here, two color bars. The light green are talking about the price changes, and the light blue, light navy blue are talking about the units change in sales. The middle line is the 0%. Anything going above is a positive change. Anything going below is a negative change, right? Now, quick observation: whenever there is a decrease in price, okay, or whenever you see this green bars, you see an opposite pull towards the unit sales. Okay, so you can see that here, you can see that here, you can see that here, all here as well, and so on it goes. So in this week, where there were no promotions going on, where there were no price changes happening from the last week, the units sold change was in negative. That means the number of units sold were, going down. So the pricing manager decided, okay, let's give a reduction in price, and that happened in this week. So there was a reduction in price, a negative price change, and there was a huge shift towards number of units sold. And they thought, let's keep the same price for a while, okay, and see whether we can, keep on with that momentum. And we saw a little bit of momentum week on week on the positive side, and which was good. And since the pricing manager also needs to take care of the profitability or the marginal side of things, they brought back the price back to the norm. As you can see, the price change here and the price change here are almost identical. Okay. And the unit sale again drastically fell down. So this is very common in products like pizza or um, you know uh, you know consumable products like these, okay, which are once in a while bought by customers, and which are highly driven by promotional and offer activities. But this model basically gives you an understanding of what kind of change would enable you with what kind of momentum in unit sales for the next week or so. Okay, so this is a very good, very handy exploration for you to make the right calls at a product level or at a store level as well. So let's quickly recap before we move to the next. We did the simulation. We did an understanding. We had an understanding of how the production models can be validated by business terms to understand how confident they are, whether you need to trust the model predictions or not. And now we are looking at the promotion effectiveness, try to understand different splits across different promotional structures, and also trying to understand if there is a change in promotional configuration, what kind of average sales revenue can you expect, okay, through the influencer visual. And then you have the price elasticity visual that's done week on week to give you an understanding of how elastic is the the price and the demand metrics for a particular product under your catalog. Okay. Now, from here on, these are standard dashboards that we have seen. Okay, and most of you would also would already have these in your organizations right away. So these are store manager level, BI dashboards to understand how well your stores are doing. Okay, to understand top products by revenue, top products sold by units, to get an understanding of inventory. You would also like to understand, the brand split within your by revenue, so that you understand what kind of rapport that you need to build for your different product partnerships. You also have a month-on-month revenue timeline for different category of products, and then also an understanding of revenue share when there is a normal rate going on, when there is a discounted rate, and when there is a hiked rate. Okay, so always giving you a quick glimpse of what's happening around your store. And then finally, you have this dashboard, again, standard BI dashboard for your sales director. Okay, having an understanding at a top level, at an executive level, total revenue compared with the last year. How does the sales look like in different regions? Top 10 stores, top 10 products, month-on-month figures, and so on. Okay, so that essentially brings us to a close on the entirety of what we have to offer around the how retail pricing or how simulation or how AI can help you to understand in depth about the pricing changes that you're taking on your product lines or across your different stores and whatsoever. The core thing that we need to understand here, there's nothing technical going on here. I have not discussed which algorithm we are using here, whether it's a linear regression, whether it's an XGBoost algorithm, or it's a random forest. No technical terms, it's only business. But how do we embed a usable machine learning model in your day-to-day operational process? And that is only when you actually reap the benefits of a machine learning implementation. Otherwise, it's just a model in your server. It's just going to lie down, gather rust, and not going to be consumed whatsoever. You have to try and close those gaps from your BI to AI, and have that embed in your daily to daily decision making process. So the idea is, altogether, you have a certain decision to make. For every decision to make, you need certain data points to make that decision. Those data points till now has been broadly BI KPIs, but now we are also going to enable you with certain AI predictive capabilities, and bringing the BI KPIs as well as the predictive KPIs that we are going to build through the machine learning models. You bring them together and then help you take the right decision. To take the right decision, we give you a platform like the simulation page, where you can actually play around with those different parameters and see what kind of effect your machine learning models can have in actual world. Okay, machine learning models are not nothing else but a representation of the future based on the data set that you saw in your past. It's nothing else. We are trying to encapsulate that entire data driven culture, and enabling you with the right tools so that you can take the right call at the right time in your business process. Okay, having said that, that's the end of the demo. I'll quickly jump into the PPT for some quick wrap ups. So as you've seen, we have a definition of data model that can be the input to the retail pricing prediction model. We have the pipeline that clean the data, process it, do the modeling, and build the prediction model out of it. We also have seen the dashboards that come out of it as a finished product. You also see not what the technical representation of the not only what the technical representation of the model is through validation of how confident the model is, but also how it is embedded in your decision making process. And then you also see the enablement of a platform through a simulation page that can enable you with the right set of KPIs or the data points, may it be business intelligence driven, or may it be AI driven or machine learning driven. Now, Clearpix is a very technology agnostic company. We work with various partners, various technology stack. You might have your own in-house tools as well. We are happy to collaborate with you on that front. We work with Azure, AWS, on-prem tools, NIME, DataIQ, Alteryx. We are big supporters of open source, R, Python, you name it. We also take into consideration the visualization, requirements that we have. Here we have used Power BI, but if you have Oracle BI, if you have Click, if you have Tableau, we can support you all the way. Let us know, and Clearpix can help you with your journey towards the operational integrated AI that we talk about. And quick numbers from end to end, it would be a 30-day start from the start to have this entire thing rolled out in production. Yes, this is only based on the structure that we have talked about, based on the tool set that we have used. If you would like us to do some level of customizations to the data model or to the tool stack that you use, we need to implement that same solution that we have with us in your tool stack. That would require some additional efforts, but it's well within a quick, rapid delivery timeline. The turnaround time would be very, very less. So, all having said and done, we would like to open the, go for the questions that you have already shared with us. And let me take those questions. So first question, what kind of further enhancements can be done on top of this? Okay, so yes, so the landscape is huge. To be honest, I mean, we have already taken a shot at making a single model that can cater to different granularities, and as you have seen, for different granularities, the confidence might go up or down. Okay, so the next step for better accuracy or better granularity or better effectiveness at a granular level, we can think of granular modeling structures as well. But yes, dynamic pricing, response strategy recommendations, or understanding key value categories or key value items would be a good place to start. How much data is required to get this rolled out? There is no thumb rule. More than the amount of data, it would be the quality of data that is more important. Once the quality of data is understood, then comes the question of the quality of data. Okay, the quantity of data. Obviously, we have used around 3 years historical data sets here. A similar time frame data set would be good. Okay, because retail pricing. Because retail pricing is very fluctuating, recent data sets would be very much needed. And given the situation with COVID and such, the recent data sets would be much more effective in terms of context. So it's very, very important. I understand this model has been for revenue prediction. Can it be done for units prediction? Yes, absolutely. It can be. It's the same approach. Instead of the revenue value, we are going to take the units sold as the target variable. How can we increase the accuracy of the model? Again, it's a very subjective question. It takes us through a lot of areas, but few options that would be definitely to understand if we have missed out on certain features, if there are interesting functional features that we can generate or we can capture through our business process. If those are available, we bring them into the pipeline and see what kind of insights that they can they enable us with. What are the tools used to build this? Can this be built on in-house tools? Yes, absolutely. It can be built on your in-house tools as well. We have mentioned a few. Just for clarity, we have used Python for this exercise. It has been the entire solution, the backend part of it is hosted in a Microsoft Azure VM. We are using Dash from Plotly to build the simulation page. And for the visuals, we have used Power BI using a Python backend for the distribution plots and such. Is there a way to find the best pricing promotional combination as an output from the system itself? That's a very, very interesting question. Okay, and so I'll take some time to explain this. So there are two ways to look at this. If the system itself can generate the combination of pricing and promotional structures, it can be automated and there is no manual intervention required. And that's a very, very effective business process you might be thinking. But there's a caveat to that. Letting the system take a major decisioning like pricing in an automated fashion might have a deep impact on your actual revenue figures. Because it has a tight integration or a tight impact on the revenue metrics, our recommendation is not to have it fully automated. From a technical standpoint, can it be done? Yes, of course. Okay, we can do different automated simulation exercises and come up with the best parameter set. Okay, but whether that's the way to go ahead for that, the answer is no. We always recommend having a human in the loop kind of a plan, so that the final call is taken by the humans, and they always have the veto power to actually overthrow any of the decisions that are being recommended from a system. How often do you need to retrain the model? Okay, retraining the model is not exactly something that is a must-to-do thing. It's always based on necessity, and it is only necessary when you have a drift in model performance. So let's say at the point of deployment, you have around 85-90% accuracy level, and over the course of next 1 month, it has been degrading and it has come down to 75% or 70%. Now, here is where business has to take the decision that whether they can tolerate a 5% decrease in the accuracy, or whether they are open to tolerate 10% reduction in the accuracy. Whenever we set that threshold, we can actually set that monitoring parameter. Whenever that threshold is crossed, we can raise an alarm or we can raise an alert to the data science team, and they can look into the entire thing again. Okay. Okay, I think that's all there is. Any other questions? So before we all leave, we have these next webinars coming up very soon to understand how you can benefit your recruitment process with a tool called Intelligent Talent Finder, which helps you parse your resumes in an automated fashion, reducing the time required for recruitment managers to screen through resumes. And then we also have this social listening exercise that has been done in partnerships with Data IQ. We also do competitive analysis around different brands that you have in your competition bracket. We also give you a feel of how to understand brand equity and the brand value that your social presence is gaining you. Okay, so please feel free to join these webinars. And once again, from the entire team of Clearpix, thank you for joining today's webinar. Once you end this webinar, you will be taken to a survey page. Please share your feedback. Without any puns intended, we would like to learn from your feedback, like machine learns from data. So we highly recommend that, or you encourage you guys to take the survey after this webinar's ended. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you once again for joining today's call. Please have a pleasant evening. Thank you.